Well, today's the day. I've been waiting my whole life for this. Today I'm seeing the Great Pyramids of Giza in person behind me. And I didn't know if it's going to make it here. This is my third try coming to Egypt. 2 years ago, I was all ready to go, and a month before, the Israeli-Hamas war broke out, and unfortunately, I had to cancel my trip. A year ago, about a month before I was supposed to leave, I tripped and fell at home, and I tore my rotator cuff in the shoulder. Later became called a frozen shoulder, and a week after that, I got my 7th COVID shot in the other shoulder. I was in pain for 5 months, and then that turned to what's called frozen shoulder, which is extremely rare. So I had to cancel that trip, but I made it here. I'm very happy to be here. And I gotta say, my shoulders are holding out pretty well. However, my lower back hurts a lot, so I really need to go see a chiropractor. Boom. Okay. And there's a lot of scams at the pyramids. I just hope that I don't fall for a pyramid scheme. Boom. Okay. Now, a lot of people, they get scammed, but they don't want to admit they get scammed because they're in denial. Okay, my bad jokes are done. Let me talk about the next thing. In back of me, and here's a big surprise for most people. Most people think there's only 3 pyramids here, but there's actually 9. So we are going, and I say we, my guide Ahmed, who is an Egyptologist, and this man knows everything about ancient and modern Egyptian history. We are going to go inside the Great Pyramid, and there is a surprise in the middle of the pyramid, which I'll talk about when I get there, hopefully, if I don't pass out. So the couple things I know about the Great Pyramid is it was built by Khufu, who was the Pharaoh king 4,600 years ago, I believe. And it was the tallest building in the world for about 3,800 years. And it's just incredible they built. Now, I think they used over 2 million blocks, which is incredible. So this is definitely one of the ancient wonders of the world. It's the only one that still survives. So this is just a treat for me. And I'm here for a week in Cairo, so I'm coming back here in 2 or 3 days because I just want to really see and experience and, just enjoy the moment. So that's it for me, and then next we're going to hear from my guide, Ahmed.
And last April, the government opened a new system in the site of the pyramids, and the new system is no longer allowing anybody to drive with their own vehicle, but now there are shuttle buses taking people from stations to stations. And now here we are standing in the first station, which is the Panoramic station, where you can see the 3 pyramids in one line behind me. And when we move around, you can see how wide it is. So it takes hundreds of people in the same time. And you know what? I like this new system because nobody's no longer allowed to come and talk to you, approach you, try to sell you anything, or even sell you a camel ride. Now the camel rides and the shops and the vendors are behind you over there, very far away of the place you stop at. And people now, if they are willing to try a camel or buy something, they go there themselves and have the experience. But those want to avoid being scammed and avoid being approached by anybody, they can stay in the panorama, which is a very safe area, and you can have a wonderful time taking pictures with the best view ever you can have in the site.
Right, so I want to talk about the camel ride scam.
Yes.
So this is the one that I'm familiar with, that I was told and saw on YouTube, is that you ask how much for a camel ride. Let's say they say $10, let's say.
Okay.
You do the camel ride, 30 minutes, you get back, you're done. They say, okay, now it's another $10 to get off the camel.
Yes.
And then, you can sit there and argue with them. Personally, what I would do, I would just stay on the camel because, if you're staying on the camel, no one else can get on, which means they're not making money.
Yes.
So eventually they're probably going to give in.
Yes.
But I don't understand why they just don't say up front it's $20, because you have a lot of upset people who thought they're getting ripped off because they didn't know about the second $10 until they, got off the camel. So there are a lot of camel scams like that, but there are also legitimate ones here. Exactly. And personally, I think you definitely want to have a guide with you that will help you avoid these scams.
Yes. So the camel situation is, very popular thing in here, but people, they just ignore the fact there are legit areas that you can go and take the camels from there without being scammed. The fact that there are different locations, different stops, different areas in a site that you will find camelmen. And the place that most of people get scammed at is by the other entrance, which is nearby the city where the village of the camelmen is. So they meet you there by the entrance.
I see.
When you go there without a tour guide, without a car, without anybody, and then they try to approach you and speak to you and convince you that they work in the site and what they give is what is available around here. But people ignore the fact that there is a fixed price for the camel ride, which is $20. And this is the government price. So you can come here and ask the people, I will pay $20, which is the legit price applied by the government. And if you will ask for more money, I will go to the police. And then you have to make sure that you have a good deal before you ride the camel. And the deal includes the fee for the camel and the tips.
Yes.
Because what you were talking about is they take $10 in a start and then in the end they ask for tip, and it's never enough, right? So make sure you have an agreement before you go on a camel that includes everything and you will never pay any more money, and be clear about it. Yeah.
Yes. And also, today we went in, what's the name of the entrance we came in today?
The Great Gate.
The Great Gate. That's the entrance you really should come in, right?
Exactly.
The Great
yes.
Gate.
And yeah, that's a good point, Andy, because so many people are staying in the inns and hotels in front of the site, and there is an entrance nearby there, so people can walk inside. And I don't recommend going from there because that entrance was initially dedicated for school trips and locals. But when you go there, you will find the people that approach you and tell you that we work for here, I'm a guide here, and they are not. And then they sell you the camel ride. They tell you they will take you in a tour for 2 hours around the whole thing, and then you ask for a lot of money.
Right. And so basically, if you don't have a guide, you're here by yourself, you're much more susceptible to getting scammed by somebody. If you come with a guide, you're going to be much better off. And I highly recommend that you have a guide when you come to the pyramids. It just be a much smoother experience for you.
Yes, and also I would like to add something, because some people don't really like the idea of a guide. They want to wander around by themselves. And then if you're coming and willing to wander around without a guide, then you should follow the new entrance, come through the new gate, the Great Gate, take the shuttle buses, stop in the stations, and never wander around but the areas that are dedicated for stops.
Okay, so as you can see, there are many camels here. Ahmed, is this where we're going to go later to get our camel?
Yes, in order to see the 9 pyramids, there is only one place to see that, which is the high hill over there.
Yes.
Andy. So
that's where they take you?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you ride the camels from here,
yeah.
So there is another camel ride between the 2 pyramids over there that they show you the area around the pyramids. And then the 3rd one nearby the other entrance.
Okay.
So they take you from there, they walk you through the way up to the Giza Plateau, passing by the Sphinx, and then they take you to the same high hill from there.
Right.
And then it takes like 45 minutes, and this is why they ask for a lot of money.
Okay. So if you're a tourist, what is the better camel ride if you had to pick one? Is it going to the panoramic view of all the pyramids, or is it just getting close to the Grand Pyramid, the Great Pyramid, and the other pyramids there?
Well, I would say this one is the best one, right? Because you're up there having the best view, and when you go there, you see 9 pyramids in the background.
Yes.
But if you ride camels between the pyramids down there, it means you will have just 1 pyramid or 2 in the background. So
that's true. You want to see all of them.
One.
Yep.
Yes.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Here we are. Right behind me lies the Great Pyramid of Giza, the pyramid that was built to house the body of King Khufu of the 4th dynasty, 2550 BC. He decided to have this gigantic tomb that helps him to reach the afterlife in the best way he believed he can. So, 2550 BC, the architect came up with this brilliant design that had earlier bases, that had three examples that were built before the fourth dynasty. The third dynasty, King Zoser, gave us the steep pyramid, and then based on the plan of his architect Imhotep, they built the Great Pyramid. The pyramid is 147 meters in height. The base runs for 250 meters, Andy. And then in the middle of the pyramid lies the burial chamber of King Khufu. That's the only pyramid on earth today that the burial chamber is in the middle. Every other pyramid we have, the burial chamber lies underneath the ground.
And that's the one we went to and saw the other day.
Exactly. So the king's chamber in the middle, and below it, the queen chamber, and then there is a third chamber underneath the ground in a bedrock that probably meant to be the king's chamber initially, but they changed the plan, or they meant to leave it empty on purpose, so they mislead the thieves. And then the pyramid lies with the complex that has a mortuary temple, three queen's pyramids, the real wives of the king, a causeway that goes toward the lower part, where the lower temple we're standing one day, but today you should know that the valley temple of the Great Pyramid is missing. It's underneath the modern houses, probably. So the modern houses making it hard to excavate and find the temple. There's also something very interesting related to this pyramid, which is Khufu's barge, or the boat of Khufu, the huge ship that is 37 meters long. It was found dismantled in pieces and buried in one of the boat beds around the Great Pyramid that were 7 in number. So the way it was built is quite interesting, and even 30% of Egyptologists today, everywhere in the world, they don't believe that this was built by human beings. It's alien-made thing, and probably others believe it is some sort of power generator that helps to, or they used it to generate power through the pressure of the water that comes from the Nile in the flooding, and then the water goes down in the corridors to create some energy and power that somehow connected between the Queen's Pyramid and the King's Pyramid. So it's good stories, but they are not facts. The facts we know, the facts we're sure about, is this whole thing was built to house one mummy of King Khufu to ensure his final journey to the afterlife be completed while his body is protected in the best way inside.
Now, where is his body? Do they know where his body went?
No, unfortunately, Andy, the first dynasty kings, in order to build what you see in Giza, and using large number of labor workers, hundreds of thousands of workers came here. Some people died, and Khufu is known for divining himself before he dies. So according to the ancient Egyptian religion, every king would be a divine image after his death. 90% of the kings were never worshipped when they were alive, except few other kings, such as Khufu. Khufu divined himself when he was alive. And then the fourth dynasty ended by the fifth dynasty that were priests. The whole dynasty, the high priest took over the throne after the fourth dynasty, and then his family came afterwards. So they say that they hated the fourth dynasty kings, and they tried to get rid of everything they did, leaving the pyramids and the complex as it is, but probably they destroyed his mummy, they got his treasures. Other people say that thieves through time, they were raiding the pyramids and they got every object that was buried inside them, even the king's mummy. And another group says that the treasures of King Khufu probably still hidden inside. I remember 12 months ago, probably 14 months ago, they announced that there is a void that was discovered right next to the burial chamber. That void was able to be identified through using the radar penetrating waves that can go through the limestone and gives reflections if there's a void in the back or next to any chambers. And they realized that there's something there that's yet to be discovered. Probably we can find something related to the king or some of his treasures still inside.
Yeah. And it took 20 to 30 years to build the pyramid, is that correct?
That's correct. And this is the estimated number Egyptologists gave based on few facts, such as the king's life. He ruled 30 years, Khufu I mean. So usually they start preparing the complex of every king the moment he ascended the throne of Egypt. And then they never finish it unless he dies. It was a bad fortune to complete a burial before the king dies, and also it was a bad fortune that the king visits his final resting place when he was alive.
But he commissioned this while he was alive.
Of course.
And so he saw part of it being built.
Yes, he commissioned this. His architect and his daughter, Khufu's daughter, is very famous. She played an important role to complete this. There is a story that halfway toward completing this complex, some laborers, they stopped and they were disappointed because, you know, they were dying and they were suffering in the sun, and then what they got in return was not enough. So his daughter started to address people so they could continue to create this final resting place of the king who can take them to the afterlife and speak to the gods in the plains. So the shape of the pyramid, that's also something we have to mention. The shape is related to one of the earliest creation mythologies from ancient Egypt. They believed that before human beings were created and even the gods existed, there was only a pyramid of water covering everywhere around Egypt. And then the level of the water went down, and then a bird emerged out of the water, and this bird was known as the Benu bird. And then the bird stood over a mound, and that mound was named as the Benben mound. The mound is regarded as the mound of creation, where the first god stood there and created everything. So the pyramids were related to this mound of creation. They meant to be in big size. They meant to look like mountains, and their function was to protect the king's body as long as his soul survives in the afterlife. So the only thing that the kings wanted to have is live forever and in the afterlife. So their bodies had to be protected. If someone's body was damaged or stolen, his soul would be lost and never feel peace in the afterlife. Following his father's legacy, Khafre decided to build a pyramid next to his father. It looks exactly the same as his father when it comes to the shape and the size. And even Khafre and his architect, they tried to create some optical illusion that let people think or feel this pyramid looks bigger than this one. From far away, from the east side when you're sailing in the Nile back in time. And the optical illusion is they built the whole pyramid on higher ground level of the plateau. So it looks from far away higher, but when you do measurements, it's much smaller. So the height of this one is 135 meters and the diameter is 180 meters. So the other one behind us was 250. It's smaller in size, but yet looks as high as the Great Pyramid. So the story of Khafre and his architect. You know, Khufu spent 30 years to build the Great Pyramid. The architect of Khafre and the king both wanted to shrink in this period of time. They wanted to cut a period and then do the whole thing in 15 years to 20 instead of going to 30. So they came here in this exact location, which lies above the quarry of the Great Pyramid. So they cut 90% of the stone that was used to build the Great Pyramid from this area. It was a higher part of the plateau where you can see the remaining high part is over there, and then they quarried all the stone from here, and they were moving the stone toward the Great Pyramid, which is right behind you, from the quarry down to the base of the Great Pyramid. And then they did something also very interesting. The first 6 meters of the base of the second pyramid, Khafre pyramid, was never built. It was right here. It's the bedrock. So there was this remaining part of the plateau that is one piece, so they shaped it into a square base, and above it they started to build the limestone. The size of the stone in this pyramid is very small compared to the Great Pyramid. The Great Pyramid, the blocks is 2.5 tons, there are more than 2.5 millions, but here the number is higher, so 3.5 millions. And the reason behind this is the small size of the blocks. The blocks are smaller than the Great Pyramid, and the small blocks help them to save time to build the whole thing. And then after they finished building the whole pyramid, which by the way has no burial chambers above the ground, it has only one room that was built above the ground before they started building the whole thing. So they also saved the time to provide corridors and chambers in the middle while they are building up. They were just stacking and building blocks from base to top. And then once they finished the inner part, they added the casing that's still remaining on the top. That's the limestone casing that was originally covering the whole body down to the base, except the first 6 meters, which forms the base of the pyramid. That base was covered with rose granite casing. So this is the first time we see the granite used in casing of a pyramid to cover some of the outer surface. And then you will see how the third king, Menkaure, cased his entire pyramid with rose granite, since he knew it is possible to be done right there. So right here we're standing below the Khafre pyramid, and you can see this block. It's not a block, it is actually the base. One piece of limestone that was right here, part of the quarry, and they shaped it all the way along the base, and then they start building the whole pyramid above the first 6 meters. So if you come here and you try to film this side, you will see the blocks there. This is the beginning of building. Before that, they were carving, and then the base was cased with pink granite or rose granite. What is remaining right here? This is one block of the granite that was casing the whole base. These cuts, and then they are repeated on most of the rose granite around here. We don't know what caused that. Was it part of building or cutting the granite from the quarry, or it was something happened afterwards when people started to recycle this granite? Because you know what, this granite is what people make their kitchen bar out of. So probably they were bringing the granite from here and cutting it, the granite in the Giza plateau, and taking it down there. You can find the remains even there. That's another block with the same cuts right there. And then when you take a look to the eastern side of the pyramid, this is the remaining part of the mortuary temple. That building, that limestone building over there. And it is the largest mortuary temple ever discovered related to the pyramids. The one that was attached to the Great Pyramid is smaller. The one that was attached to the third pyramid is also smaller. So here, apparently, Khafre architect, he saved the time in building the pyramid and then dedicated that time to build a massive mortuary. The end of the fourth dynasty was very interesting. Apparently, the early kings of the fourth dynasty, Senefru, Khufu, and Khafre, who built gigantic pyramids, led to the decline of the dynasty. And this is witnessed right here. The pyramid of Menkaure, which was the king before the last king of the first dynasty, is much smaller in size compared to the early two pyramids for his ancestors, the Khafre and Khufu pyramids. They went from 150 to below 100. This is just 65 meters in height, and the diameter is 110. So you can see how small they went to by the end of the dynasty. So the reason behind that, Andy, is there was some problem in the economy. People started to starve. They spent a lot of food feeding hundreds of thousands of workers for 50 years in a row. So people started to feel bad about working in the construction of the pyramids. And probably this is the reason why every pyramid that was built after the Khafre pyramid or the last pyramid in the first dynasty, their height was lower than 70 meters. So the idea of building gigantic burials faded away, and these moved toward doing smaller shapes. What's unique about this whole pyramid is the casing. It was totally covered with pink granite or rose granite. So the granite could be found around the whole thing, and even few meters from the base still bears the original granite. Probably people might wonder what's this opening over there.
Yes.
That's one of the raiders' ways in order to reach the burial chamber, believing it lies in the middle, the same that the Great Pyramid was built for, or the same shape of the Great Pyramid having the chamber in the middle, but they faced a dead end, and then they went below and opened the entrance we use today to go inside.
These are the Queen's Pyramids. So there's 6 altogether, but there's 3 right here, correct?
There are, there are 3 more Queen's Pyramids next to the third one, and you will see that the other way.
Okay.
Gonna go this area
So right here we're standing above a very interesting spot in Giza, Andy, and this place is the remaining part of the ancient quarry of the limestone. So one of the questions that people ask all the time when they talk about the pyramids, where they brought the stone from, the answer is 90% of the stone used to build the Great Pyramid, the second pyramid, and the third one, they were all quarried from Giza. And right where we're standing, if you take a look down here, this is a part of the original quarry. The edge of this site, the unfinished blocks you see down there, they were being prepared, being cut, and then they stopped the process. And this gave us the way they were cutting the limestone. So you see they were digging around the blocks, several ones, and then they opened water. So the water made the limestone easy to carve and shape and cut. And then the entire place was used 1400 BC. 1400 BC is 1200 years after they built Giza. And this was specifically during the time of Ramesses II. And you can see that, take a look up there, Andy. There is a text over there that speaks about cutting stone from Giza Quarry in order to build a chapel for His Majesty Ramesses II. You can see the name, his name is written in a cartouche. That's the most famous cartouche everywhere you go in Egypt.
Wow.
Ramesses II. And I would like to highlight one point, which is the level of the ground in Giza Plateau is not even. So there are higher areas and lower areas. If you take a look to the quarry where the second pyramid was built above it later after building the first pyramid, which is the Great Pyramid, the quarry lies on higher ground level than the base of the Great Pyramid. So they were cutting 5-6 tons blocks from here and then dragging them from up the plateau down toward the base of the Great Pyramid. So dragging from higher ground to lower ground is much easier than dragging 5-6 tons blocks from lower to higher ground.
So there's over 2 million blocks in the
2.3 million blocks
in the Great Pyramid.
Yes.
So for each block, they would have to have how many men pull like a rope or something?
Well, the 2.3 million blocks and their size varies. So we have bigger blocks at the base. The size goes smaller toward the top. So when you reach the top, the size of the blocks is very small. You can carry them. So the big ones lies down in the first 50 meters. And the estimated number of people that were used to drag one block could be hundreds, thousands. We know that they had 2,000 workers in the quarry, cutting and polishing the surfaces of each block a day. So the 2,000 workers were also helping to cut and move the stone toward the base of the Great Pyramid. So it could be hundreds of workers at a time dragging one block of stone.
Now, originally, it was thought for a long time that Jewish slaves built the pyramids, but in recent years, it was Egyptian workers they think did everything, right?
Well, 100% Egyptian workers, and the existence of Jewish people in Egypt, we have evidence about their existence, but this happened later in time, like 1700 years after they built the pyramids. There was a city, Andy, that was discovered 1 mile south of Giza Plateau and known today as Hayt al-Ghurab. And this name is not really popular because it's not open for visits, and now being excavated. There in the city, they found the remaining skeletons of the workers of Giza. Evidence says that they built a settlement for the workers, and that settlement was used along the time of building the 3 pyramid complexes and every other tomb around here. So we're pretty sure they were the Egyptians building that. Because I'll tell you what, if you used slavery to build something, do you think they will dedicate time and effort for that? And they will complete it in such a perfect way as you see around here? I don't think so. It had to be run by Egyptians, but let's be honest and fair. Every old civilization, every ancient civilization had slavery. Yeah. So the slavery or slaves, they helped in such building constructions in certain stuff, but some of the workers, I would say the majority were Egyptians.
Okay. And then where are the aliens buried that helped build some of the pyramids?
Oh yeah, the alien story, that's very interesting. We have 110 pyramids today stand on the land of Egypt. Do you think every time we wanted to build the pyramid, we contacted the aliens? There are no evidence about alien existence in Egypt because the ancient Egyptian civilization was not only great because of the pyramids. There are other monuments you're about to see when you go down south. Luxor, Aswan, massive temples that also could be very mysterious in the way they were built, regarding the size, regarding the weight of some of the blocks. And there is also Saqqara complex that we will visit together. There's a place known there as the Serapeum. I will take you there because it is one of the very mysterious places ever. So no alien burials in Giza.
Okay, one more question.
Yes.
I read that some of the blocks came up the Nile River or down the Nile River?
Yes.
Okay.
And those were the rose granite blocks. Their size is massive, Andy. Some of them weighs 28 tons.
Wow.
And those were brought from, some people say is Aswan quarries because this is where the granite is, and others goes with Tora quarries because we have a quarry lies 25 miles southeast of Giza, and that's compared to the quarry of Aswan, which lies 800 kilometers south of Cairo and Giza. So Tora quarry, where you can find alabaster today, probably it had granite before, and they brought the granite stones from there. If you look around here, some of the rose granite still here. And the second pyramid, the one who's standing nearby, it was partially cased with rose granite. So the first 10 meters from the base had granite covering, and then the rest was limestone. You can see the top still remaining intact with the limestone casing that covers the last 25 meters of the whole pyramid.
Okay. Here you go. We're going in the...
You wanna go to the front?
Yes, okay. I am in the Great Pyramid, where 4,600 years ago, they buried the Pharaoh. So we're walking where there were people here, which is hard to imagine. And of course, when the Pharaoh died, they put him in a sarcophagus in the middle of the pyramid. This part is easy, but we're gonna have to bend over at some point. Yeah. Here's the bending over. Okay. Just bang my head a few times. Oh, jeez, there we go again. Keep your head down.
What's your head?
I know. Whew. This is the hard part. I hope.
Hard part, yes. After that, everything will be fine. We can walk.
Okay. Okay. Inside the Great Pyramid. Built 4,600 years ago for the Pharaoh Khufu. Okay. All right. Okay. Wow.
Or allow people to go in the front.
Yeah, let them go, yeah.
Let's go to the front a bit.
All right, we're continuing to go up. But at least we can stand up in here. Whew. Just get me to the top. Oh my God. This is crazy.
Nein, es läuft meine ich. Das waren auch aus. So viele Leute können wir nicht.
Ja, geh du mal wieder.
Oh, this is it. This is it. Okay. All right. And the big surprise is an empty sarcophagus, which you can't see. I made it to the end of the Great Pyramid. I am tired and hot and sweaty. I might pass out, in which case I'm gonna jump in that sarcophagus and have my family send me home in that. Okay, now the hard part going down.
They will be here the whole day. Watch your head and
Yeah, I know. It's. Watch your head. Okay. Watch your head. Two-way traffic. Okay. Oh man, I'm gonna bang into people. Alright, I gotta get out of here. We're going down and I'm trying to hold on. Two-way traffic is not easy.
Voy a ponerlo adelante para tomar las fotos.
Alright, keep going down, baby. Yeah. Don't worry, it's only 2 more hours to go up.
We wouldn't be able to film anything if we came in while people were going outside.
Exactly.
So the best timing was once it's opened after the lunch break.
Exactly. Please get me to the end.
Almost.
As I said, I have 2 bad shoulders, but my back hurts a little bit. I need a chiropractor. Thankfully, not a lot of people coming up right now. Whoa. Whoa, whoa. Alright, so we can't get out right now.
Well, let me find a way through because.
I'll just follow you. Well, yeah.
Guys, keep going, please.
Alright, let's see. This is the hardest part, and then we're pretty much done.
Now we have to bend our back.
Yes.
I would say we go backwards.
Are you going backwards?
That's easier.
Alright.
That's easier. For filming.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay this way, I think. Okay. Oh shit! Shucks. For the love of the Pharoahs.
Cuidado aquí. Está suelto.
Alright, I gotta get past this guy. Watch your head. That's the worst part. I banged my head several times. I probably have a concussion. Oh jeez, I just did it again. Don't worry, folks. It's much easier than it looks. Not. Ah, jeez.
Careful, Andy.
Yeah, I got I'm holding on.
I'm taking some pictures.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thankfully, no one's coming up.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Whoop.
But you will see how crazy it is by the entrance.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah, I
Is
know.
it worth it?
It is.
Okay, then we keep moving.
You should keep moving.
Turn around while you can.
Let's go.
Careful.
Just kidding. Oh. Okay. Oh my God. Legs are sore.
I don't think you won't be able to do anything today.
No,
After this.
I think you're right.
Yeah, we're done after this.
Yeah, we'll do the Sphinx in about 3 days. Yeah, my legs.
Almost there. We're almost there.
All right. My camera keeps bouncing around. Okay. Oh, I can't see.
There you are.
All right. All right. Are we almost there?
Yeah, we're almost there.
There's so many people, baby.
How far is it? 10 minutes?
It's not that bad,
70
but you
meters. Yeah.
but you have
70 meters to the top. But you don't walk in a narrow passage all the way to the top. Just 20 meters more and then you can walk.
Well, watch your step. Oh my God, I almost made it.
It's almost here.
Yeah.
We still find it.
I'm not there yet. I'm trying to go. Okay. These stairs are not steep at all. It only takes 2 hours to get there, don't worry. No, just kidding. Okay. Only 2 more hours, folks. That's it.
You did it.
I made it. I am sweating though, I gotta tell you. So how did they do that with carrying that? The sarcophagus was made there, right? They didn't move it in there.
No, it was made there.
Okay.
Everything you
Okay.
saw inside that, they was prepared during the construction works.
Yeah.
So they never completed the whole thing and then started to think how to get the sarcophagus in there.
But they must have brought some other stuff on that way
Only the
in.
king's treasures, the
Okay.
treasures of the king and his mummy.
Okay. All right. Shukran.
Surviving. We're surviving.
We made it.
Good.
Good?
Right. Already. Make the camel up now.
Yes.
2 hands here and lean back.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Hold it good.
Okay.
طب هنا 9 رمال.
Oh. Hi, Ahmed. Oh, jeez.
Welcome back in the life.
Yes. I'm gonna.
Welcome to Alaska.
It's a little hotter than Alaska, I think. Yeah. A little hotter. How long have you been doing the camel rides?
Me?
Yeah.
Every day.
How many years?
How many years? About 35.
35 years?
Yeah.
You've been here for 35 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have 45. When I have 10 years, I work with my father here.
Okay, so were you here when the Pharaohs were alive?
Yeah.
Exactly, years old, yes. He looks younger than that. Okay, because you can tell from the top that is not the Great Pyramid. That's Khafre. That's the middle pyramid. Because the original limestone is up top, you can kind of tell. But no, that one is Quarry. That's the smallest of the three. So where are we going to end up? At the entrance? Okay. Oh, good. Perfect.
How is it?
It's a little bumpy.
That is good massage.
Yeah.
Egyptian massage.
Yes.
That's mine.
That's yours. Oh, is it? Yeah. It's another way to get around.
It's really mine.
So you're here in the summertime, right?
Yeah.
That must be very hard.
Yes.
He's very tan, yes. Come on, Rambo. Yeah,
9 years.
9 years. And how long do they live? How many years?
Maybe 20.
20, okay.
This one?
Yeah.
5 years.
Oh, he's
I
okay.
bring it, we have 1 year, I teach him.
Okay,
Yeah, with me 4 years.
okay.
Rambo,
Yes.
Casanova,
Yes.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse, all
Good
right.
boy,
Yes, yeah, I got Rambo.
but you come with gentle guide with you. That's nice, man.
Yes.
You're lucky, man.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my guide Ahmed, he knows the gentleman who's in charge of the camels. But if you come here by yourself, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
So the official Egyptian government price is $20 for like a 30-minute ride. And make sure when you get your camel ride, the price includes going there and back and getting off the camel. Make sure it's per person. Be very specific. And then, you're gonna tip them as well, but you can negotiate. So there's a lot of camel scams here at the pyramids, but thankfully this is not one of them. Also, when you see people walking around the pyramids with nameplates, they look official. They're not. A lot of them are fake. They tell you they're gonna show you around, and basically they own camels and they want you to ride on the camels. So I would just walk around if you're gonna come here by yourself, and do not pay attention to anyone that approaches you, unless they're police officers in uniform. Now, I planned 2 full days here at the pyramids because there's a lot to do and things take longer than you think. So you might want to do a camel ride, you might want to do a horse and buggy ride, you might want to go inside the Great Pyramid like we did, which takes a lot out of you actually. And you're going to want to take pictures, obviously, and video from all 3 pyramids. You can go to the spot where you can see all 9 pyramids. You want to see the Sphinx. I also did the sound and light show last night. I would try to do 2 days here, and that way it's just not much of a rush with 2 days. If you do it 1 day, you're going to cram a lot in there, and you're going to be pretty tired. So it is mid-October, it's like 87 degrees, I think. Could be more. do not come in the summer. It's just not worth it. Even though it's less crowds, it's cheaper, but it's so hot, so hot. You'll be so uncomfortable. Yeah. So now we see some of the horse and buggies. Yes. So the camels you can take here by these pyramids, or you can take a camel ride to the area where there's the view of the 9 pyramids. Now that's the Great Pyramid. And to the right, you can see some of the smaller pyramids of the queens. So you have the 3 main pyramids, and there's 6 smaller ones that are the royal wives.
Lean back. All good. Lean back.
Okay.
Please calm it down. Hey. Sit in the middle.
Yeah.
Yes. Touch it here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I see the Sphinx.
Slowly, slowly.
Slowly. Yeah, come on, Rambo. Rambo, you know the drill. Okay. Oh. Okay.
Sorry for that. I'm sorry.
I mean, maybe we should get off here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's okay. It's slippery for them. Yeah. I would. Let's get off here. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it's a little slippery for them. So. Oh.
Finish.
Yes. Okay.
Welcome back on the live.
Yes.
Manitoba.
I think we made it. We're done. Okay. One more thing to do.
Left brain.
Yes.
Lean back. Hold tight.
Okay.
Slowly, 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 Rambo.
Oh.
Welcome back.
Oh. Yikes. Rambo.
Just a second.
Yep. I'm not going anywhere. Don't worry. Come on, Rambo. Stay still. Oh my God. What is your name?
Abdul.
Abdul. Andy?
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So what is the cost for 2 people in a horse to get to the view of the 9 pyramids? So what,
4,000 pounds.
4,000 pounds. So that's what?
$80.
$80. We can do it for $30 US. 30 US. So that's, what's your best price?
I think it's 400.
4,000.
4,000.
Give some money.
But that's
80.
That's, oh, you're still at 80. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. 3,000 is
3,000 is 60.
60. No, we're not there yet. So 1,500 Egyptian pounds. How much? 1,000. He wants to do 2,000.
Yes.
That's
They want to go up to 2,000. $40. Yeah.
for you.
$50 US, including tip, both ways, right? There and back, right? So that's so that's 2,500.
Yes, Egyptian. Yes.
2,500 Egyptian pounds. Good.
Deal.
Good deal.
All right.
Deal.
Oh, it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
A little bit.
Yes. Okay.
Sand everywhere. But, you know.
There's no leg room. It's like an airplane. Oh man. Abdul, we like to go to Hamunaptra. You know where Hamunaptra is? It's a city of the dead. It's a city of the dead.
He doesn't understand.
Oh, have you?
let me tell him.
Okay.
في فيلم الموميا يا حاج احنا الفيديو احنا دلوقتي فيديو
أوه.
فيلم الموميا في تقريبا 1980 كانوا جايبين اوبس you okay?
Yeah, just spilled it everywhere. Yeah, tell Abdul that in Hamunaptra there's a mummy, but it is alive.
بيقول لك ان في المدينه بتاعت المومياوات في موميا حيه هناك في الفيلم بتاع الموميا الحقيقي يعني. He's taking us there now.
Okay. Hamunaptra.
Yeah.
All right.
We might find Imhotep lost money.
Imhotep. I did not realize how bumpy this ride was going to be.
Oh, well, this is sitting on the carriage instead of the camel. If it's on a camel, it would be.
It's worse, yeah. We're approaching the panoramic spot.
This is where everybody comes to see the 9 pyramids in one line. We're about to see that. When you go to up there, the farthest point you can go. ما احنا عايزينك بقى تدي وش الحصان لناحية الهرم قدام كده خالص. هو قاعد يمشي في الأرض لوحده. صار وراك. Look how nice all 9 pyramids.
And this is the view of the 9 pyramids. Most people think there's only 3, but there's 6 more. Those are the wives of the Pharaohs, I believe. Oh yes, wow.
ده يلف معاك شمال هناك الطريق على طول. Back to the rough part again.
Yes. This is definitely a rough ride.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So this rough is how it goes in the camel, all the way up and down.
Oh, great. Well, I'll do 30 minutes. That's about it. Yeah. So which bus stop is this where you get the camels and the horse rides?
Which bus
Bus stop, yeah.
Well, you can have the camels from here or there.
Right.
So,
If you want this one, what's the name of the bus stop?
oh, this is the Panorama station. So this is the Panorama station.
Okay.
Where you can find the camels and then لا خش قدام. You can find camels down next to the 3rd pyramid and the 2nd pyramid.
Yes.
But I really don't recommend taking camels by the entrance toward the city.
Okay.
Because there, they give you a camel ride or a horse ride and say, I will give you a tour in the whole place for a couple of hours on
Right.
camels or chariots.
Yeah.
And this is when they take you somewhere and they say, I will never let you off the camel unless you pay me more. So if you want to spend the whole day and night on a camel
Right.
here in the Sahara, then you go from there.
Okay. All right. Shukran, Abdul.
Here we are, we're standing in front of the magnificent statue of the Sphinx, facing the east, the sunrise. And the Sphinx been seated right there for thousands of years, Andy. It was gazing over the eastern entrance of Giza Plateau. The idea that the king and his architect, which was his brother, decided to carve the statue right there, right by the entrance of his pyramid complex. The idea of the Sphinx, why this particular shape? Is the Sphinx predate the pyramids? Was it carved by aliens or another earlier civilization? The answer to all this is the Sphinx was cut right there during the time of building the second pyramid complex, the pyramid right behind the Sphinx. And it bears the face of King Khafre, the man that was buried in the pyramid in the back. They meant to put his face right there on a lion body. And this is part of the early version of the ancient Egyptian religion, Andy. In the Book of the Dead, that records the journey to the afterlife, they speak about the spirit of every dead person can take or transform itself into different shapes. Amongst these shapes is a bird shape, another one, a lion shape. So transfer itself into a lion body so it overcome one of the challenges that it will face in a 12 hours journey to the afterlife. And this is one of the forms. They meant to carve it right there so the king would appear in the shape of a lion after his death to protect and gaze over his own entrance, so nobody would be able to enter, no intruders, everybody would be scared when they see the king.
And when they found this, it was buried in the sand?
Yes, it was buried in the sand for 3 times. Every 1,000 years, it was buried in the sand.
Oh, every 1,000 years, wow.
Yes.
So who discovered it?
Well, the head was always revealed, just the body that was covered in the sand. And simply because when you take a look around here, you see the plateau back there is very high. And then the constant winds brings the sand from up there to this lower part. So the area around the Sphinx was covered with sands every 1,000 years. And right next to the Sphinx, to the left side over there is a temple, the lower temple, and it was named the Valley Temple. It is the nearest point to the Valley Andy. This marks the entrance and the beginning of moving inward in the complex. The temple was provided with 2 ramps. You see the stone ramps over there? And the stone ramps, both were added here so the boats can dock. There, this area was something like a big port. The boats were sailing from the Nile River through a canal
So
the Egyptians digged.
the Nile River was here.
The Nile River was 2 kilometers away. They digged a canal, a narrow canal, from the Nile to the complex. And the canal ends here in this big port. And the port leads to the entrance to the complex. So initially, the Sphinx, when it was carved right there, it had just this temple in front of it. However, 2,000 years after the Sphinx was carved, in the late period, Andy, they built another temple in front of the Sphinx. This limestone temple right there. It's in ruins today, but it was for the worshipping of the Sphinx. They added a stage with a staircase right there, and there was a ceremony took place in here to celebrate the existence of the Sphinx in this spot. So this is all about the Sphinx, its locations. There are some theories about being predating the dynasties, and this is based on some of the CT scans that was inaccurate. They took some stones, Andy, and they did CT scan, and the CT scan gave them 10,000 years ago. So, and this is definitely predates the dynasties. However, people ignore the fact that the limestone that was used to carve the Sphinx over there, it was here for decades. It was here for thousands of years, even more than that. If you compare between the height of the Sphinx and the height of the plateau over there, across the road, and this area was one base of limestone, part of the plateau of Giza. And then, when they started carving out the complex, the second one, they carved the Sphinx out of the plateau. The temple on the left side over there, it was also carved in a bedrock. It was never built. However, they added some casing of rosy granite to enhance the walls and support them to stand against the erosions that will be reaching the side through the water that comes from the Nile. So the whole thing was carved out of limestone. So the age of the limestone there, it's 10,000, 15,000 years ago. Existed in this area at that time. So it doesn't lie. The CT scan says 10,000 years ago. It's correct, but doesn't mean that it was carved 10,000 years ago.
And how old is the Sphinx? Like, what year do they think it was built?
It was carved in 2470
BC.
BC, exactly. The time of King Khafre, the moment he ascended on the throne, his complex started to be built. And amongst the project that was run by his brother, the architect, he added the Sphinx. So the Sphinx is the unique thing that differentiates between the three complexes here. And I think they meant to do that because there was a competition between the kings, and every king and his architect wanted to do something that never repeated for the first time, create something. So they created the Sphinx in the second complex, trying to compete with the creation of the Great Pyramid that has no example, has no something similar exist in Egypt today. So as we were talking about the Valley Temple being the first stop in the whole complex, and marks the beginning of the journey into the pyramid complex, and you see the temple itself is prepared to carry and has the furniture of the king and his mummy before they start the funeral toward his final resting place, which is the pyramid. So imagine when a king died, not just in Giza and any other complex, usually they embalm its body in his palace, in a royal palace. And they do this as fast as possible after announcing death. And then the boat or the mummy is carried in a boat and they sail in the Nile River, followed by everybody, his family members, his architects, his viziers, soldiers, armies, and Egyptians. And then they sail to the west bank of the Nile. So they stop in front of the Valley Temple. They bring the body in here, and they bring the treasures of the king inside. And then originally the temple had statues fixed along the wall around the whole place, 23 statues in number, and those were the king himself. They were all for King Khafre. We saw one of them in the Egyptian museums, and some others moved to the museum, and those statues meant to be himself faring well, his body, before it's being buried in the pyramid. So they leave the body here in the middle, and they do some hymns and prayers and magical spells for a couple of hours before they carry the mummified body along the causeway toward the mortuary temple before it was taken to be buried in the pyramid. So if you take a look around here, this temple is one of the brilliant architectural built temples in Egypt. The architecture here is amazing. The design is fascinating. You have monolithic, one piece of rose granite. It weighs 11 tons. Others from 15 to 25. Egyptians in architecture, they had their own way to do things, and the Egyptian architecture is still surviving today because of the plans and the ideas they came up with, such as, take a look at this corner. So this is one block of the granite, one piece, right? They did this curve right here to fix another one above it, and then a little curve goes straight and then comes to the corner. They could have cut the stone from here and just fixed another one. No, they did a curve all this way. So to put another one above it with a different curve on the other side. So one to the right, one to the left, and then it goes to the top. You see a big piece right there with the curve.
Also the curve, yes.
Yes, matching one line. So they did all that for one reason, to provide a stability to the walls, because they knew that this is the nearest point to the erosion of the Nile. Winds, constant rain would actually affect the walls. So how do we do that? How do we support the walls? They came up with this idea. And we agreed earlier that this temple was built or cut into the bedrock. So they came up with the idea of adding a casing of granite that cased the limestone walls from the outside and inside. So even if the flooding, they thought about it. They sometimes believed that the water of the Nile might come up all this way and reach the complex, and that's why also they enhanced the wall with the erosion granite. This was part of the plan when they decided to build this temple. They added this part that leads up to the causeway so they could carry the mummy on it heading toward the pyramid. You'll see once we pass the second gate over there, you'll see that the causeway and the pyramid right in front of us, and the Sphinx lies on the right side. When you take a look at this block up there, the entire temple had a ceiling before. And the ceiling was pieces of big granite as this one. This is one of the original pieces surviving from the ceiling. We just entered the tomb of the physician of Khufu, right next to the Great Pyramid. The entrance, as you see, and there are some carvings on the walls. These are animals. You see rams, you see people interacting with the animals, and then the rest of the walls depicts more workers and servants. Take a look up there. This is a group of workers dragging probably a cage of birds, which is very common in the periods of the nobles. And this is a figure of a man stands down.
Is that gold?
No, this is not gold. Everything here is limestone, and the entire tomb was complete before. But sadly, the damage that took place over the tomb lost some of the scenes and some of the blocks, and then the carvings are not in a very good condition. But we're speaking about a tomb of a noble man who was ruling, who was a noble man during the time of King Khufu of the 4th dynasty. And now, since he was a physician, he added in his own tomb a basin over there. That's a basin for the holy water they used to treat diseases by soaking the bodies in holy water. As you see, he was proud of his job. So in his final resting place, he mimicked the basin used to heal, or using his healing power in it by carving the basin. And now what you see down there, Andy, is the entrance to his burial chamber. The hidden entrance that we're about to go inside.
The hidden entrance. All right.
But before we go to the entrance, take a look at this wall. Remember when we were at the museum? This is the false door, the gate to the afterlife. So the gate to the afterlife was carved right in front of the entrance to his final resting place. His sarcophagus and the burial chamber is down there, so follow me and watch your hand.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get down there. Let's see.
Well, you have to try because
Okay.
I think this will be the same
Can you hold
as
this?
going inside the Great
Oh,
Pyramid,
yeah, you're
so
right. All right.
Here we are.
Okay. Wow. I'm trying it. Ooh.
It's not too bad, just 10 meters.
Okay.
We are going underneath that.
Oh my god. They need a handrail in here.
Careful.
Okay. Whoops. Yikes. It's good practice for the Great Pyramid, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is the massive sarcophagus limestone sarcophagus, how huge it is. 20 tons. And sadly it was opened and everything was taken from inside. But to see the idea of carving down in the ground and then carving, this sarcophagus was carved right here. It was never put down here.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is the bedrock, and so they carved the sarcophagus, shaped it, and it had the body buried inside before. Let me use my flash to show you inside if you can. See how deep it is down there. Yeah.
Yes.
Right there, this was the altar. The altar where every visitor came, lift his offering on the altar in the front there, and pray for the dead nobleman, the physician, and then went on. So the families of every noble man and woman, they kept visiting their burials after their death. Even the funerals of the nobles were different than the king's funerals. And simply because in the old kingdom, they believed that the kings will be gods in the afterlife. And then the nobles, the commoners, and everybody else will have the same life they had in a real life. And I mean by the same life, if you're a nobleman, you will be a nobleman in the afterlife. And if you're a worker or a servant, you will be a servant in the afterlife. This mentality changed, Andy, by the Middle Kingdom, and then they believed that everyone will be equal, will all be serving the gods. That's why the noble burials, they are covered with what we call daily life activities. Everything they were doing in their real life was depicted on the walls of the tombs.